All right, looks like we're live. Thanks for joining me on this Monday afternoon. As I said, due to current circumstances, I have a lot more time to stream, so I'd like to take advantage of that and do a lot more streams. Let me just double check, see if the audio is coming in here right. All right, sounds okay there. For whatever reason, Google Hangouts or YouTube Hang, whatever this thing's called this week, but YouTube streaming's had audio issues for me lately. I'm not sure what that's about, but if you're, I'm looking at the chat, so if there is any problem with the audio, let me know. All right. So this afternoon, I just had to get back from my fun errand of picking up my dog, or at least my dog's remains. I had him cremated, so I had to go pick that up and got the last vet bill, which is another bill I don't need particularly now, but it's the last one, so I guess there's that. It's funny. I've had a lot of free time, and I've needed to do some spring cleaning around the house, and I've done some. But what really needs done is this downstairs room here. I guess the living room, family room, whatever you want to call it. It's where I usually stream from. It's where, up until recently, I spent most of the time when I was home, and I haven't really wanted to be down here much lately. So, it's the room right now that needs serious spring cleaning. It's the next on the list. The real spring cleaning. You move the furniture and vacuum under the furniture, and you take everything off shelves and dust. I mean, just the full-on deal. And I just haven't want to be down here. Honestly, unless I was streaming, I really have not been down here at all. Even watching videos on my phone, I've been doing it on my phone using the house Wi-Fi. I have not wanted to be down here at all, because it is so weird being down here, even still. And it's been over a week. I mean, but even still, it's just missing a presence down here. It's been a very long time since there wasn't a little dog down here. But yeah, I don't want to ramble on too much about that kind of stuff. I get a little too emotional on that. But yeah, I had to pick up what remains of my dog, his earthly remains, as it were, and had him cremated. Got it in a nice little box. There's a little brass plaque with his name on the front. They gave me there's a little concrete kind of circular, sort of almost plaque. It's like coaster size with his paw print on it, whole 9 yards. It was really nicely done. But yeah, like I said, I don't want to just ramble on here sitting crying about my dead dog. But damn, it's almost shocking how much I missed a little guy. But anyways, I guess the news obviously is continues to be the Syria thing. It's weird. I got the one comment from the one Fedora that comments on here a lot, and he was all like, it's funny. I mentioned in a stream earlier how atheists tend to worship the state. That's why they go hand in hand with communism so much, because man needs a god. Well, it's funny, the atheist, of course, is just unflinchingly not questioning Trump, and we're heretics basically for daring to be a little concerned with this troubling turn of events. You're turning your back on Trump because of his gambit. And I don't really think I am. I was obviously pretty upset that night, but if you actually listened to Saturday's show, which I'm not sure this guy did, saying it was almost pretty white pill. I kept saying, I think he might be up to something here. Hopefully he's playing the neocons and not the other way around. And supposedly, I just saw on Twitter somebody was saying that Sean Spicer just said, we have no intentions of pursuing further military intervention in Syria. See, it's so hard to say because there's so many neocons that are out there talking about what they'd like to see happen. It's so hard to know what Trump really wants to do, other than judging him by what I would hope he would want to do. I've heard some people say, like, well, Alex Jones would say this, which was surprising. I guess Trump wants to get rid of Assad and ISIS simultaneously. Well, look, call it whatever you will. ISIS, Al Qaeda, whatever the fuck name they'll call themselves next. The fact of the matter is, the worst breed of Muslims that make up the Al Qaeda, the ISIS, what have you, the only thing that keeps them in check is a man like Assad. A regime change in Syria would be disastrous. It would turn out take Russia out of the equation. Yeah, it's obviously a bad idea because a nuclear power is backing Assad. But let's say Russia's like, fine, do whatever you want with Assad. We don't care. Okay, fine. Well, at least there won't be a nuclear war as a result of it, or not even a threat of it. There won't be a war with a major power. Let's put it that way. But nonetheless, best case scenario is we would go in and regime change Assad, which means we turn it into another, Muzzy run hellhole. Extreme Muzzy run hellhole. Right now, Christians are free in Syria. Religious minorities are free in Syria. No, it's not the most, it's not the most free nation in the world, but it's basically the most free Muslim nation in the region, isn't it? Damn near. Maybe Jordan would be a bit better, but it's certainly better than anything that's going to replace him if we regime change him. It's not going to turn into a Jeffersonian democratic republic this time. It's never going to fucking happen. All right. Nothing we could do there, regime change wise, is going to work out well. It will not work out any better than Iraq, and Iraq was a fucking disaster. All right. And all the same people who thought Iraq was a great fucking idea are talking about regime change in Syria, whether or not they claim to be pro-Trump or not. The Bill Mitchells. It's always baby boomers, too. It's always fucking baby boomers that are so pro-war. I saw somebody showed a tweet of this, and it's just so good. I can't remember who originally said it, but to paraphrase it even a bit, Fox News, and I would add the military channel / American History channel / American Heroes channel / whatever it's called this week, but all the war porn on cable did to baby boomers what baby boomers thought games like Mortal Kombat were going to do to my generation. All right. Turn them into a bunch of fucking psychopaths, at least when it comes to this topic. There's a new sheriff in town. I'm glad he's sticking up to Assad. Why? Don't get me wrong. It was embarrassing for Obama to constantly draw red lines, and then Assad steps over them, and we're not going to do anything. But the solution there is to stop fucking with them in the first place. Stop drawing the red lines when we're not in a position to do anything about it. When it's a bad idea to do anything about it, even if we are in a position about it. Because again, I'd let Assad run the whole goddamn Middle East if it were up to me. Yeah, go ahead, buddy. I generally like what you're doing there compared to your neighbors. It's a terrible idea to go in there and regime change that place. And I pray to God in heaven Trump doesn't have an idea of that in his head. And I don't think he does. But I worry he does. And I worry there's a certain hook-nosed motherfucker that wants to put that idea in his head. Somebody says in the chat, boomer genocide, when? Well, it's weird. I guess I'm an old millennial, maybe a young Gen Xer, depending on where you draw the line. But regarding both generations, both of them have tons of fucking problems. But when I hear a boomer criticize either one of them, I'm kind of like, I get almost defensive about it. I'm like, no, you don't get to fucking criticize it, all right? You are the boomers. All right. Any of you that are listening to boomers, and I'm talking about your generation as a whole. This might not apply to you as an individual, but your generation as a whole. You took the greatest wealth the world had probably ever seen, at least in recorded history of mankind we had ever seen, and you left the greatest debt that we had ever seen. You destroyed this country. You killed God, metaphorically speaking, of course. You destroyed everything good about this country. And then you have the balls to sit and judge your offspring who must deal with the mess you left. You know, it's that one political cartoon I saw one time where it was, you know, a millennial and a boomer arguing, and the boomer's like, "Why can't your generation ever, move out of your parents' basement?" And the millennial's like, "Because your generation grenaded the economy and we can't find jobs." Oh, okay, yeah, that's an exaggeration on the part of millennials, but yes, that's why. It's certainly hard to find jobs that you can find your own place with. But yeah, boomers are trash. I mean, just look at the way they talk about their music like it was the greatest fucking thing in the world. Like they still won't shut up about fucking Woodstock, all right? Like the generation before them, fought and won World War II and then came home and built the greatest economic engine the world had ever seen. And your generation got high in the mud for 3 days and listened to mediocre at best music, and you haven't shut up about it since. And the generation before you never bragged about their accomplishments. Boomers suck. I can't imagine fucking 50, 60 years later still rambling on about a goddamn concert you attended. Like, like that. I mean, shut up. Lionizing the fucking Beatles like they were the most amazing goddamn thing in the world. The Beatles, I got news for you. The Beatles were like the fucking Backstreet Boys of their day, all right? That's what the Beatles were. They were a boy band. All right? They made cute pop music. And they did it quite well, and there's nothing wrong with it. Pop music's great, I like pop music. It's, happy and cheery in a world where we certainly need a bit of that now and then, don't we? But it's kind of disposable. It's kind of the fast food, the candy of music, as it were. All right, and that's all the Beatles were. They were just pop stars. They were just the fucking Backstreet Boys of their day. All right, and you suck their dick to this day like it was just the most amazing thing. And I know that the Beatles did artsy stuff towards the end of their run. That all sucked, though. That's the thing. That was all unlistenable garbage. And some of the Beatles went on to have decent solo careers and that sort of light rock, whatever you want to call it, sort of genre, and do good stuff. But I mean, the Beatles were they're just pop stars. That's all they were. They're fucking Backstreet Boys of their day. And nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that, mind you. All right. But, that's what it was. Don't act like it was more than that. Maybe they were kind of the first Backstreet Boys, as it were. And I guess, credit where it's credit's due. They were sort of the first of that, major boy band. But I don't even know if that's true. I don't even think that's true now I think about it. Because you could point to several fucking Motown acts that were essentially, just, the same thing. I mean, although, okay, I guess the Beatles played instruments and other acts would just be vocals, but it's still, it's not that fucking special. It really isn't. And to this day, they keep sucking its dick like it was the most amazing thing ever. Boomers really, really just fucking suck. They are the worst generation. And again, with this serious stuff, all the boomers, they're all the ones that, yeah, let's go get a side. He's the bad guy. didn't you just did this mistake 10 years ago. I guess, what, 12, 13 years ago now. 03 was when we first really decided to kick the Iraq war. Now, that's when we were doing the Iraq war, I guess. Oh, how have you not learned? All this crap, all this bullshit about why we should regime change Assad. It's the exact same argument. And I mean, cue Stefan with his not an argument. Barely fucking arguments, really. But the exact same arguments as to why we should have toppled Saddam. We all know how well that went out for us, didn't we? Toppling Saddam was the greatest foreign policy blunder in the United States history since our involvement in World War I. And sadly, may have just as long and just as bloody consequences in this 21st century. I mean, I knew at the age of 19 or 20 that it was a bad idea. I wasn't a genius. I wasn't some, Nostradamus. I could just put two and two together. Like, you want to knock out a secular strongman dictator when we're trying to fight religious extremists? What you're going to do is embolden Iran. You're going to embolden the worst manner of Muslims. And that's exactly what happened. And don't give me that bullshit of, well, it would have gone just fine if we'd have stayed a little longer. Isn't that just the wonderful? Oh, we just needed to spend just a little bit more money. It's like the morons that think, oh, yeah, Vietnam would have been fine. We just needed to burn down a little bit more jungle, kill a few more people, and lose a few more American lives. We were just so close. The neocons, that's in their head. They just think like, oh, we just needed to burn down a bit more jungle, bit more, I guess, rainforest, really, if you want to be all Greenpeace-y on us. Just burn down a bit more jungle, kill a few more people, and waste a few more American lives, and piss away a little bit more money. Like, in their minds, we were like one day away from victory. No matter how long you stay in these fucking messes, when you finally have to pack up and leave, oh, but we were just we were just one day away from it turning into a Western, Jeffersonian democratic republic that would have been our best ally ever. Oh, if we just one more day, it's all we needed to do. One more day, that's all we needed. Somebody says, which is worse, SJWs or boomers? Because at least boomers can be reasoned with. Can they, though? You try reasoning with a boomer on their sacred cows. Hell, try reasoning with a boomer on fucking Syria right now. Can't be done. Try daring to criticize a boomer's music. Even stuff that doesn't matter, you'll get boomers flipping their shit. Like, I contend, for example, that John Wayne is a terrible actor and always was. He talked like he was a fucking retard, like he just had a stroke. The only one of his movies I ever enjoyed was The Shootist. You compare him to someone that's more or less his contemporary, say Clint Eastwood, there's no comparison. Clint Eastwood's a damn good actor. John Wayne movies almost all sucked, in my opinion. Say that to a boomer, though. Never mind the rumors that John Wayne might have been gay. Holy shit, they'll fight you over that. But yeah, boomers, boomers make me think that fucking Logan's Run might be right. And the older boomers are even the worst right now. And I noticed this a few years ago. I remember this commercial, right? It was the fucking hover-rounds. The you can go and you hover around. It's the fucking motorized scooter that you give to all the old people now, which most of them don't even fucking need it. But you're bouncing around, and it was the commercial where it was like, my hover round didn't cost me a penny. It was just, and I just remember thinking like that commercial should have ended with him just been looking over at his grandson, be like, but it cost him his future. But yeah, Logan's Run had the right idea. Fuck the boomers. even 10 years ago, I began to see this with the ones just a little bit older than them, even because it was like the first of the Roosevelt generation, the handout generation. Old people, even like 10 years ago, I noticed that was like when about 10 years ago, when it was the last of the worthwhile old people just dropped dead on us. And I remember dealing with the old people then. I was like 20, 21, like 03, 04, I want to say. And I'm like working at Burger King because I don't know what the fuck to do with my life. Of course, I'm in my 30s. I still don't really fucking know what to do with my life, but that's neither here nor there. But working at Burger King, and it was right next to a fucking retirement community, assisted living community. So the old people that I had to deal with, and it was like they were bored, so they wanted to fuck with you. They'd never admit that, but that's what it was. You could see it in like an old bat's eyes when she walked in the door. Like, her objective is to fuck with you, to give you a fucking hard time. If she gets lunch in the process, that's incidental. But no, really, her objective is she is bored and she wants to fuck with someone, right? She wants to make the most ridiculous, complicated bullshit order she can. Like, I want a fucking fish fillet, but I want the tartar sauce on the side. I want 2 bottom buns. Because I can't take this. They would always say they're allergic to, which I'm allergic to the seeds. No, you're not allergic to the seeds. All right. You're not allergic to the sesame seeds. You don't even fucking digest them. All right. Maybe you have irritable bowel syndrome and that's what it is. All right. Maybe that's but no, what's more likely is that you just want to order obnoxious shit. Because then I would also have people want it 2 top buns every once in a while. That was weird as shit. But had to do it. But you could just tell, and they just walk in. You could be like, this old bat just wants to fuck with me. She got nothing better to do. Her grandkids don't visit because she's a bitter old bat. Somebody says, can I have fries with cheese and I want a burger without buns or meat in it? Oh, dude, the stupid shit people would order was unreal. Yeah. People trying to, it's like, you realize that I'm going to go back to, I can go back there and make your food and you're not going to see me do it either. This ain't fucking Subway, all right? So maybe you don't want to pick everybody should have to work a restaurant at some point in their life too, or retail. Just so you know how to treat people that work in that. Everybody should have to do it. It's like people talk about like mandatory military service. No, I say mandatory fast food service for teenagers. That's what I say. All right. I don't care if they're fucking wealthy, got all them. They need to work at least 20 hours a week. A fucking fast food place. Well, let's say 10 hours a week, if they're going to school still. But yeah, they need to do that. It's good for them. Teach them some fucking self-respect. Let's see. Somebody says never work at fast food. No. You should work at fast food. You should have to. You should have to at some point in your life. Let's see. Somebody says I worked in a nursing home once. I'm versed in boomer psychology. Well, you poor bastard. Somebody says, you know what I don't get when people yell at workers because they got their order wrong. Just ask politely for them to fix the order, or else they're going to come on your burger. I mean, that's the thing. Look, shit happens. I mean, every once in a while, there's some restaurants in my area, right? There was a McDonald's near my work that, I didn't go there often because McDonald's food is ass. But almost every time I did, they'd get my fucking order wrong. Just painfully wrong. I remember they had a sweet chili chicken wrap, which I like to get once in a while. If you actually got it grilled, it wasn't even bad for you, certainly by fast food standards. But it was a number 10, so the one time I go in there and I order, I'm like, okay, I want a number 10 with a Dr. Pepper. Okay, so and I get it back to work, to the break room to eat. I've got a 10-piece McNugget with fucking root beer. I'm like, this ain't even close. You know, you're on your break at work, so you don't have enough time to go back and fight with them. So you're like, well, at least it's something I fucking find edible. So I guess. So he says, better to be homeless than work at a fast food place. Let's see. Somebody says it was a high-end nursing home as well. Some of them were genuinely fine. Well, I mean, yeah, if you end up with a better class of them, you might be all right. But I can't imagine. I can't imagine working a nursing home when the boomers really start to flood it, even more than they have already. Let's see. Bechtloff, you and 40 should have a 30-something curmudgeon show. Well, Forney's like 26, 27. I mean, Forney just sounds like a fucking Gen Xer. Now, Forney's actually a millennial. You know what really sucks? Bill Crystal. Well, yes, Bill Crystal is pure fucking evil. There's no getting around that. Sultradamus. Yeah. But no, Bill Crystal is like that's what got me so fucking upset that first night after the missile. Because I mean, when you're seeing Bill Crystal rubbing his fucking merchant hands together in Glee, you got to feel like something's going wrong. Like, fuck that guy. Worked a chicken fast food place, a Chili's, a record store, and a paper route. You know, the interesting thing is after Burger King, I worked at Suncoast Movie Store for a while, and then moved on to, you know, working factory job, something that actually paid a couple, you know, it's semi decent. But I remember, you know, I got it right around the Christmas rush, and I thought, how bad can this be? It's a movie store. It's got to be at least somewhat fun. It was awful. I would have been better off staying at Burger King. It was so fucking terrible. First of all, this was around 04. So it was right around that time when it's like, you know, they started with all the nonsense where you're going to try and push like a subscription card, and the 3 weeks free of Entertainment Weekly was the big thing we had to push, because they'd be hoping you don't cancel it and then you got to pay for a year subscription. Like, they force all that bullshit. Some Undertow says, stop ignoring my comments. I'm your co-host, damn it. All right, Undertow, this is the first comment of yours I saw. But anyways, this is how nonsense this crap was. I remember Spider-Man 2 had just come out on DVD. And this woman comes in and she looks like she's in her 50s or something, and she's getting Spider-Man 2. And this is, you know, this is like late November. You know, this is right around like the start of kind of a Christmas season of shopping. And I'm sort of making casual conversation with her as she's checking out. And I said, yeah, you know, because there wasn't a lot of people in the store even. I said, you know, are you getting this for your son? She's like, oh, yeah, he's a big Spider-Man fan. I got to get him this. And I'm like, well, let me show you something. And I walked her over and the 60s Spider-Man cartoon had just come out on DVD. This was like $50 too. Yeah. But it was the whole show. And I said, you ought to consider getting him this. It's almost never been on TV, certainly not in many, many years. Have they rerun this on TV? So he's probably never seen it. So this would probably be really interesting to get him. And she's like, yeah, that seems like a really good idea. Thank you. You know, and so I took like, you know, the $15 DVD she was buying, and I talked her into also buying a $50 set. It's completely organic, suggestive selling. She was happy with it. No doubt her son that she's getting it for would be happy with it come Christmas. Everybody's fucking happy, right? So she walks out the door. Again, I turned, you know, $15 sale into, you know, $65. The manager bitches at me that I didn't try and sell her fucking the 3-week scam fucking subscription of Entertainment Weekly. And I'm just looking at him like, it was like, Later that day, I knew like I'm gonna quit. I am gonna quit this job. Like I can't do this much longer. Let's see. Uh, let's see. Somebody says worked in a Blockbuster video store. Everyone on the staff was assistant manager, except up to the assistant manager was a stoner. Somebody says Undertow is definitely Knuckles to Bechtloff Sonic. Um, let's see. Somebody says Bechtloff, go read a book called Steelheart. It's a novel about a supervillain taking over the world and normal people fighting them. That's kind of interesting. I read one that was like an interesting kind of superhero novel from the perspective of a villain called Soon I Will Be Invincible. That's actually a pretty good read too. Let's see. Most retail store managers don't know what the hell they're doing. Somebody says, I don't know how the boomers can bitch about millennials not having jobs when all the jobs for those in their teens and early 20s are taken by boomers that pissed away their retirement. That's not a bad point. It's funny too when you see some boomer working at fucking Burger King and you know he's got to have some extra income in his retirement. Let's see. I might work retail for my grandfather this summer. Is it a good idea? Well, I don't know. I mean, what kind of store is it? Is it your grandfather's store that he owns? I mean, it's a lot different when you're dealing with things that aren't chains. So he says, what are some good anime to watch? I couldn't tell you. I don't really watch a lot of the Goop Tunes. Let's see. I gotta say this: janitors are underpaid because holy shit, the things they got to clean up. Oh man, the things I had to deal with at fucking clean up the bathroom at Burger King was unreal sometimes. Bechtloff, did you see the new comment filled episode today? I have not. Also, Razorfist put out a rant about dumping McCain, which good. I got to check that out though. And I even said that Saturday. I'm like, hopefully Razorfist starts really going after McCain, as well he should. McCain is bad and should feel bad, and all the bad things in life should happen to him. So he says, watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure if you haven't already. I have not. I'll look into checking it out. Janitors and trash collectors deserve more respect than they get. Yeah, that's true. The world needs them more than needs a lot of other more quote unquote respected jobs. Let's see. Just got done watching Fate/Zero. I don't know anything about that either. So he says McCain is the Penguin without the suit. You know, all joking aside, I always thought that like Dick Cheney would make an amazing Penguin if he was ever to act. Like he really does sound like the fucking guy. The Penguin in the Adam West movie, especially. How dare you criticize McCain? Don't you know he's a war hero? You know, the one really funny bit, it was back during the 2000 primary. You know, Will Ferrell was doing George W. Bush at the time and all, and I don't remember who was playing McCain, but it was like all the Republican candidates during the primary. This was an old SNL bit. All the Republican candidates are like at this hotel in the primary, right? And McCain said something about being a veteran, and Will Ferrell's George W. Bush just snapped at him and go, "Oh, are you a veteran? I hadn't heard." Like seriously, that was the one fucking note McCain could ever fucking play. Oh, I was numb. like, oh, that's wonderful. Is that why you keep trying to fucking get America into more noms? True, Dick Face Cheney would make a better penguin. Oh yeah, dude, Dick Cheney would. That's. It's a shame he's not an actor because that's the role he was born to play. Uh, Show me how a person treats those in low jobs, and you really get a sense of their character. Yeah, I always try and be really good to service oriented people that I'm dealing with. I mean, I'm I try and be very patient. I try and tip well, although you know I kind of remember when 10% was the base tipping. It's like recent years it's jumped up to 20, it seems, and I don't know. I Most of the time I tip too much because I don't really order a lot, and I keep forgetting like you gotta I just end up giving like you know $4 or $5, but it might be like I only ordered 10. Yeah, I only ordered like $15 worth of food or something. Uh, it's kind of weird that we based the tip on how much the food cost. I always thought that was sort of weird. You know, I mean, the service is either good or it's not, but you know, let's see. But I do try and tip good either way. Would you rather have President Palin or President John McCain? Definitely Palin. Palin's a little out of it, but McCain's fucking insane. I honestly think we were better off with Obama, looking back. And I realize that's a bold statement because Obama is a shitbag, but damn. Yeah. Let's see. Also, while cops can be jackasses, anyone who thinks yelling at a cop is a good idea is a complete nut. Oh yeah, I mean, the motherfucker can probably kill you and get away with it. I mean, I'm not black. Jesse Jackson ain't gonna fucking march for my ass. No, I don't mouth off to cops even when they have it coming, and a lot of times they have it coming. But I'm not fucking suicidal. I mean, maybe if like I was diagnosed with like cancer and I was dying already, I might be like, "Fuck you, pig." He pulls me over for right turn on red or some bullshit, or he's just trying to make his end of the month quota. But right now I kind of have things to live for. Am I being detained? Yeah. Let's see. Beck, would you say that Trump is still the best outcome? Well, here's the thing. I don't regret even if he were to fucking try and regime change in Syria, which I still hope to God he's not. And I don't think that's what he wants to do. But, I mean, what other choice did I have? I can't say I regret voting for him. I mean, even in the primary, like, who's the only other guy every other Republican except Rand Paul would have already had boots in the ground in Syria. Every other one of them. You could say maybe Ted Cruz because he was kind of, but no, foreign policy he wasn't libertarian-ish at all. He wasn't small government at all. He wasn't nationalist at all. He wasn't non-interventionist at all. He wasn't anything good. He'd be marching for Israel's glory too. Rand Paul's the only one aside from Trump that had a sane foreign policy in the primary. But Rand Paul was he was foolish and weak on trade and the border. And the cop thing. I mean, look, I know there's issues with police brutality, and that's kind of the sad thing about Black Lives Matter is it's made it so that you can't even talk about police brutality without sounding like you're one of those fucking, shitbags, Soros-funded shitbags. But there are issues with cops being out of control because there's issues with the government being out of control. And I'd like to see those issues addressed by fucking adults in the room. But Rand, you were just tone deaf to the mood of the room. Nobody wanted to hear about cops being the bad guys when feral Dindus were burning down all our cities. At least nobody that was voting in a Republican primary, that's for damn sure. Undertow, do you want in? What? Okay, here. You want it? You want into the thing? Sure. You know, I just you hadn't wanted to stream with me all week except Saturday, so I just didn't even bother asking today, man. But yeah, you can hop in. Bring in Squid Boy, yeah. Do it. Let him in. Let's see. Yeah, Black Lives Matter claims it only happens to blacks because of more racism. No, it happens to blacks because they're the ones, screwing around with them more. I mean, but like I said, there are issues with out of control cops. There's not issues with racist cops. If anything, I, as a white man, am probably more likely to get shot in the damn back if I was having an if I was having a little disagreement with the police, because they know nobody's going to march for my ass. Let's see. Tony Hawk underground missiles. I don't know what that's about, but yeah. Oh, I saw the one meme where it was fucking Gary Johnson. And you know that black guy that's like got his finger to his head, like, oh, you can't do this if you're like this. Well, it was Gary Johnson sort of posed like that, and it was like, you can't regime change Syria if you don't know where it is. And then there was one where it's like, who is this Syria person? Why is the government throwing axes at them? I sent you a link there, Undertow, so you can hop in whenever you want. Oh, he's got to wait till school lets out. Okay. I forgot Undertow's still in middle school. Let's see. What is my favorite soda? I don't know. I guess cherry Pepsi or Dr. Pepper. I'm trying to drink less soda, though, because this stuff is poison. Let's see. Ted Cruz is married to Goldman Sachs, literally. Yeah, that's true. He is truly... Undertow is in... Christian says Undertow is in the school of Blair White's sex dungeon. Well... Dr. Pepper is based. Okay. Let's see. Orange soda is best soda. Let's see. Who loves orange soda? Question mark. Apparently this one person up here. Dr. Pepper, official soda of the new right. Red Bull, official drink of the all right. Red Bull tastes like ass, though. Red Bull just... But you know what's even worse than Red Bull is those fucking 5-hour energy shots. Like, I tried to have one of those one time when I was, like, quitting soda. I was like, well, I got to have some, so I got... And it was the sugar-free one, which might have added to it tasting bad, but holy shit. Like, it was just this little shot, and I could barely choke it down. It was like cough syrup filtered through dirty socks. It was so fucking nasty. Ugh. Like, I could barely choke it down. Are energy drinks alt-right approved? I don't know, but like I said, most energy drinks taste like just shit. They're just so fucking nasty. Bechtloff drink coffee like a normal person. Yeah, I don't particularly care for coffee either. Let's see. YouTube demon killed Cantwell's channel. Is Cantwell's channel gone? I knew he was he was having he was missing some streams this week, but I think it was just because he was traveling and he had not brought all the equipment he needed. Like he said he forgot a cable or something. Everyone was just assuming he's dead. Like that's just the kind of guy Cantwell is. He goes dark for like a day, and everybody assumed he fucking hung himself. I mean, I love Cantwell. Don't get me wrong. I love his stuff. But so Cantwell's channel got fucking showed. How about that? That sucks. I'll have to look into his site, see where I can still catch him. But I like his stuff. Somebody says black female cops are the worst. I can't say I've had a lot of dealing with them, but I did have a buddy that went through boot camp, and he told me the absolute worst drill sergeant was this fucking little black female drill sergeant. He said that was somebody that was just fucking vicious for its own sake. Bechtloff, are you surprised that the alt-right condemned Trump like they did after the Syria attack? Not really. I mean, look, these are people that got behind Trump I am a perfect example of this, but these are people we got behind Trump because of his ideas. I mean, I like Trump personally. I liked him as a guy. I liked that, he wasn't taking any shit. I thought that was good. It was something we needed. It was a big reason he won, but also I liked his policies, Uh-oh, who the hell's in my live stream now? What's going on, Undertow?
Hey, how are you? I'm in the car now. Just wanted to let you know I am not in middle school, all right? I am a substitute teacher because some of us have jobs, you welfare bum.
Yeah, some of us do have jobs. Not me, though. Not me.
Yeah. How you been, man?
Not bad.
I've been listening to you and talking a little bit about baby boomers and stuff. I wanted to ask, have you heard this latest stuff coming out of Washington that McMaster or whatever his name is, he's trying to convince Trump to put 150,000 troops on the ground in Syria.
Yes, I did hear that, and he's supposedly one of the main, even more so than fucking Ivanka's merchant husband. He's one of the main guys pushing for this nonsense.
The fuck is that about?
Well, the real question, I guess, I don't know. You can make arguments about keeping these people close or something, but Trump shouldn't have brought any of these fuckers in.
No.
I mean, maybe like one token one just to make him feel special. Like every time he's like, comes up with his plan for regime change in this or that country, you just be like, oh, that's so nice. We're going to put it right on the refrigerator.
Yeah. But it's just, like I was saying in the comments earlier, when it comes to the baby boomers, they love all this war and stuff because in their minds, the Iraq war was a success because we killed Saddam. Right? Because they see quote unquote the bad guys as Hollywood villains. And so, it doesn't matter what happens after you kill them and James Bond gets away because the camera stopped rolling, right?
I guess they really are that childish about it. I mean,
they really are. And the reason they all seem to have this psychosis is they were all kids at the same time, and none of them wanted to grow up. But because there was just so many of them, they've never had to think of things from the point of view of somebody who was not their age, because they outnumber the other age groups so completely.
They just.
I mean, barring the exceptions, the ones who actually care about people.
That's actually a really good point. That's why, that's why they still run around like the fucking disposable pop music they consumed when they were 15 still matters.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's not enough people to say, no, it really doesn't.
Yes.
I have a great deal of nostalgia for late 90s, early 2000s music because, when the first time you hear a song and you're getting your dick sucked the first time you hear it, it tends to endear it to you, I get that. You were a teenager, the world was bright and new, you were getting pussy, you got your first car, everything was a fucking adventure. I get that. So that music is going to endear itself to you. I know consciously it's nothing special. It's just music I had.
Now
I don't expect a 12-year-old to fucking appreciate it.
Sure. Now imagine for every one person saying, "Hey, that song's nothing special," you had 15 telling you, "Oh, this is orgasmic. This is the best thing since Beethoven."
Yeah.
You know, they literally just drown everyone but themselves out.
And on foreign policy, I mean, they didn't grow up with it, but I guess they wrote it. It's like these are the motherfuckers that think, they think war is like a G.I. Joe cartoon.
Yes. Yeah.
We're gonna go get
Like I
Cobra.
said the other day, who do you think wrote it? You know.
Yeah.
I will say this: from my days being a substitute teacher here, there is hope. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, the real
kids
young ones
today,
are.
kids today are they're freaking woke, man.
Yeah, the real young ones are. It's
I'm
shocking.
not even really young. I'm just talking about high schoolers. They're still basically millennials like me, you know, and already their opinions on things have swung so completely from what the PC is. I mean, they're like making jokes about, oh, that's not politically correct. Like, one of them made a joke about, did you just assume my gender? And everybody laughed.
Yeah, it's become
Public
cool.
school.
It's
Public
become
school.
cool to mock that bullshit.
Yes. Which
I
is
mean,
why it's like a self-solving problem. That's the thing. Getting more and more into this stuff, of course, I often have bouts with despair and everything because of just like, oh God, we're going to get nuked tomorrow kind of feelings. But really, a lot of these problems kind of solve themselves.
yes, things are secular. I mean, things that graph of hard times create strong men and that sort of
Yep.
thing.
Yep.
You know, the great challenge of civilization is to try and keep the pendulum from swinging so far that it
That
rips
it gets
right out of
stuck.
itself, or gets stuck or something.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's always ups and downs. There's always seasons of everything. That's why like people that are like,
See, what
oh,
what people
I
don't realize is history is not just any kind of
yeah,
pendulum. It's a Foucault pendulum, so it's also spinning. It's
you
really
know,
confusing.
like Forney recently was talking about, oh, Japan's a failed society because
Oh,
right
fuck
now,
off with that, Forney. Yeah.
I mean, right now their birth rate's low and they're jacking off too much. But you got to understand their birth rate needs to be low for a while. They're an island nation, all right. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
It's our type thinking to imagine that populations can just grow indefinitely. That is our type thinking. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
There,
And I mean, maybe it's just the inner weeb in me, but Japan seems like one of the only stable places to live.
yeah. I mean, the idea that one of the oldest continued civilizations in human history is going to cease to be in a generation because right now people are jerking off too much over there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, you can look at their old scrolls and drawings and paintings from the Edo period, and they were jerking off too much then too.
Yeah. I mean,
Again,
because the
again, they can't
economy's
they can't
stagnant.
afford they can't afford to have that many kids
Well,
with
the
so little
economy's
land.
stagnant over there, but they're still very prosperous. I
Hmm.
mean, they might not
When you
have
when you have the
they have
biggest
plenty
cities
of
and the
toys. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
when you have the biggest cities and the best technology in pretty much the entirety of the world, barring maybe a few places in Silicon Valley, like there's no need to continuously expand. And you know what? That's also the boomers' fault because their whole mentality is that you have to constantly be expanding.
It's something I argue with religious people because my fellow Christians always say, well, anytime there's declining birth rates, it's terrible. Well, if you
Yeah.
don't let in a bunch of third worlders to try and fill the gaps, no, it's not because, and this is an argument I often have with Catholics. It is our type thinking to imagine populations can expand indefinitely.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, you'll hear stupid things like, well, all the population in the world right now, we could fit into this big city inside Texas or something. I'm like, yeah, but you require more land than just the land your fat ass is sitting on.
Hmm.
How much land do you think it requires to feed you or to make
Yeah.
all the first world amenities you enjoy?
Yeah. Yep. People lack perspective. They don't
Yeah.
think about things, or if they do, they don't.
That is an art.
They don't think about things in a broad perspective.
That's an argument I often have with my fellow religious people. I absolutely think this planet is overpopulated as it is. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say the West, with its relatively low birth rates, is a problem. There's certain other sections of the world that are more of a problem.
India and China, for
But
sure.
as a whole, as a singular species, we are overpopulated.
Mm-hmm.
And already, I mean, people like, we already can't feed ourselves with the population we have. We have to do all this factory farming shit that is just begging for a superbug. Never mind the humanitarian aspects of
don't you know,
treating
Bechtloff,
animals humanely. I mean,
hydroponics and vertical farming, though, we don't need land.
oh yeah, I forgot. Movie Bob's going to master vertical farming so they can wipe out us ignorant rural folks.
Listen, Movie Bob can't master vertical sitting, okay? Don't get me wrong. I find one of the coolest things in the world to me is futuristic farming. Like, I grew up going to Disney World a lot, and at the Epcot park, they have a section called The Land, where they have, like, the most cutting-edge techniques of farming and food production and stuff with, like, they have the hanging hydroponic vines and stuff, and it's really, really cool. And computerized combines to harvest stuff by themselves, and robots planting seeds. That is just one of the coolest juxtapositions to me.
The thing is, I want stuff like that to happen because I want humanity to continue to advance.
Exactly.
Movie Bob wants that stuff to happen because only in such a world is his lifestyle remotely justifiable.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you've got a Star Trek replicator, well, I guess it doesn't matter that you can't produce anything yourself. So I'm just going to sit here and philosophize.
I often thought that in like Star Trek: The Next Generation, and we very rarely saw much of Earth, but I often thought Earth's got to be just like fucking Wall-E, like just the fat motherfuckers, just like eating fucking.
No, you know what it is? It's a ghost town.
It's replicator cookie dough and jacking off to holodeck porn.
It's not even. It's even worse than that. They're just got intravenous lines going into them, and they're just on the holodeck all the time. They don't even know. They don't even know that anyone's left the planet. They think it's still the year 2017. Oh my God!
All the God-fearing K-types. They went into all the spaceships to go fight the Klingons and the Borg.
Yeah. And the admirals are like, should we tell them that the orders aren't coming from Earth anymore? No, don't let them know. Just
like Starfleet headquarters in San Francisco is the only fucking advanced looking spot on the planet.
Yeah, everything else is just empty streets and virtual domes.
Yeah, what you didn't see is the giant fucking wall around San Francisco to keep the crap out.
The Klingons paid for that,
Well, yeah, obviously. That was part of the peace treaty. Oh, man. Well, I'm probably going to wrap this stream up here soon because I got to eat fucking lunch. I ain't eating anything all day.
Oh, man. It's like 4 o'clock for you, isn't it?
I know. I guess I got to eat dinner now. I just...
Yeah.
I had like no, I didn't have anything when I woke up, and then I had to go and fucking... I had to go pick up my dog.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you could laugh about that. I'm sure you're only laughing because it's so sad.
He's in a better place.
That's true.
Yeah.
Is that face that nice?
As I've often said...
I'm sorry.
It's fine. As I've often said, if you don't believe in doggy heaven, you can take your erroneous theology elsewhere. Well, all right. I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Everybody, thanks for listening. If you appreciate the show, you appreciate what I do, and I am doing it a lot more than I used to, do check out the tip jar below. Donations of any amount are greatly appreciated. That helps me keep doing what I'm doing. And that's about all we got for today, folks. Thanks for listening. Undertow, thanks for hopping in. And
hey.
Bechtloff.
No problem.